Hello, hello. Oh, thank you very much for the very first sub, Rico. And welcome in. I do not have a one of those shoutout overlays just yet, so we will just this will be okay for now. Fair. That's fair. Okay, so for the subs, I chose to run all of the subs at the beginning. Thank you for the sub, Red Panda Piran. So the reason that I run the subs at the beginning of my stream is so that it doesn't interfere with the actual stream itself. We get a bit of a break, I believe an hour's break. Hopefully you can hear the background music. You are on the 8th ad. That is unfortunate. Once the first 5 minutes has passed, you should be able to be out of ad hell. You are here now. Welcome in, Lemon Zest. So today we will be doing the Mads the Beaver. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, and that is a hype train. And also, that is my first shot. Let's do a poll. Okay, so what should the first shot be? Then we will have soju. Please pick soju. Gin. If you don't, I understand, however. Each vodka. Duration, let's do 5 minutes to get people a chance to come in. Thank you for the gifted sub here. It will not be grape. It will be the Jirou 24%. I believe the Jirou. There's the Jirou 24%. We have a Keto 1 Botanical, and that one is 30%. And oh no, what is the gin? And then the third is the Hendrix Lunar Gin. It is asking me to fill out a survey to go look at it, which I refuse to do. Hendrix Lunar Gin is 43%. So, how much do you want me to perish? Oh, I see. I understand that most people have chosen to spare me. For those of you who don't know, soju tends to be quite lighter. I believe it tends to be around 15%. This one, however, is 24%. Drink some moonshine. No, thank you. I did not realize that Hendrix Lunar Gin is 43%. That is why, when I first drank it, I felt like my insides were so clean. Just from the botanicals and also from the incredibly high alcohol content that I did not anticipate. Hendrix came out with a limited edition Lunar Gin, and I do love gin. It is my favorite. Oh yes, the Twitch ad attack. Mads, you should not be getting one. I believe you did subscribe. You might need to refresh. But yes, they came out with a Lunar Gin. The bottle looks beautiful. For those of you who don't know. And I was anticipating something a bit darker, perhaps, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But no, it just tastes like regular Hendrix Gin, except stronger. So, no mixers, only shots. And the chaser will be water, because I do have work the next day. It is a very pretty bottle, and that's it. So the regular Hendrix gin is 53, and this one is 59 because the bottle is pretty. Yes, the water chaser is perhaps a good idea. Oh no, they're all 30 seconds long. Oh? Oh, the ads. Mads, you should not be getting ads as a... I did not realize that Mads was stuck in ad hell. What a predicament to be in. So today we will be doing chapter 3 reading of the picture of Dorian Gray, and then afterwards we will be playing a little game called Mondays, a Sisyphean typing game. So perhaps we'll have a few shots in and it will be more frustrating. I'd like to think of it as a little break rather than ad hell, but unfortunately you're all trapped there. So, I need to pull up. I know that I'm going to read the picture of Dorian Gray every single time, but do I pull it up? No, I do not. Alright, let us copy paste it into our editor. Hopefully the background music is not too loud. We are winging it today. And yes, that is a bird pun. Choo-choo. This looks like a Squirtle, but colored to be a regular turtle. That's quite alright. Cute turtle. Lemon Zest, how is the background music compared to my speaking voice? Not too loud, I hope. Hello, Shima, welcome in. You thought those beavers were shrimp. Where are the beavers? Alright. Well then, shall we continue? So we're going to do a bit of reading, and then after that, I will showcase all of the channel point redemptions, and then after that, I will play the horrible typing game. Oh, what won the poll? Thank you for the alert, Birdie. Soju. Ah. Soju time. Alright, bottoms up. Oh, that is strong. I also forgot to chill it. Oh, it is unpleasant. Okay, the picture of Dorian Gray, chapter 3. At 12:30 next day, Lord Harry Wotton strolled from Curzon Street over to Albany to call on his uncle, Lord Fermor, a genial if somewhat rough-mannered old bachelor, whom the outside world called selfish because it derived no particular benefit from him, but who was considered generous by society as he fed the people who amused him. His father had been our ambassador at Madrid when Isabella was young, and prim unthought of. Is this? I'm not entirely sure why it suddenly turned to first person, but I suppose we'll just roll with it. Okay, well, that is fine. I shall turn it down. I shall turn it down and we will start again anew, because I had to pause and check what text it was that I was reading. And I will just hydrate myself here. Alright. The Picture of Dorian Gray, Chapter 3, Take 2. At 12:30 next day, Lord Henry Wotton strolled from Curzon Street over to Albany to call on his uncle, Lord Fermor, a genial, if somewhat rough-mannered old bachelor, whom the outside world called selfish because it derived no particular benefit from him, but who was considered generous by society, as he fed the people who amused him. His father had been our ambassador at Madrid when Isabella was young and prim unthought of, but had retired from the diplomatic service in a capricious moment of annoyance on not being offered the embassy at Paris, a post which he considered that he was fully entitled to by reason of his birth, his indolence, the good English of his dispatches, and his inordinate passion for pleasure. In other words, he believed he was entitled because he had the audacity. Trademark. The son, who had been his father's secretary, had resigned along with his chief, somewhat foolishly, as was thought at the time, and on succeeding some months later to the title, had set himself to the serious study of the great aristocratic art of doing absolutely nothing. He had 2 large townhouses, but preferred to live in chambers as it was less trouble, and took most of his meals at his club. He paid some attention to the management of his collieries in the Midland countries, excusing himself for this taint of industry on the ground, that the one advantage of having coal was that it enabled the gentleman to afford the decency of burning wood on his own hearth. In politics he was a Tory, except when Tories were in office, during which period he roundly abused them for being a pack of radicals. He was a hero to his valet, who bullied him, and a terror to most of his relations, who he bullied in turn. Only England could have produced him, and he always said that the country was going to the dogs. His principles were out of date, but there was a good deal to be said for his prejudices. Thank you for the congratulations, Dark Eye, and welcome in. When Lord Henry entered the room, he found his uncle sitting in a rough shooting coat, smoking a cheroot and grumbling over the Times. "Well, Harry," said the old gentleman, "what brings you out so early? I thought you dandies never got up until 2, and were not visible until 5. "Pure family affection, I assure you, Uncle George. I want to get something out of you." "Money, I suppose," said Lord Fermor, making a wry face. "Well, sit down and tell me all about it." I don't know why I read it like that. Young people nowadays imagine that money is everything. "Yes," murmured Lord Henry, settling his buttonhole in his coat, "and when they grow older they know it. I don't want money. It is only people who pay their bills who want that, Uncle George, and I never pay mine. Credit is the capital of a younger son, and one lives charmingly upon it. Besides, I always deal with Dartmoor's tradesmen, and consequently they never bother me. What I want is information. Not useful information, of course. Useless information. Well, I can tell you anything that is in an English blue book, Harry, although these fellows nowadays write a lot of nonsense. When I was in the diplomatic, things were much better, but I hear they let them now by examination. What can you expect? Examinations, sir, are pure humbug from beginning to end. If a man is a gentleman, he knows quite well enough, and if he is not a gentleman, whatever he knows is bad for him." "Mr. Dorian Gray does not belong to the blue books, Uncle George," said Lord Henry languidly. "Mr. Dorian Gray? Who is he?" asked Lord Fermor, knitting his bushy white eyebrows. That is what I've come to learn, Uncle George, or rather, I know who he is. He is the last Lord Kelso's grandson. His mother was a Devereux, Lady Margaret Devereux. I want you to tell me about his mother. What was she like? Whom did she marry? She had You have known nearly everybody in your time, and you might have known her. I am very much interested in Mr. Gray at present. I've only just met him. Kelso's grandson, echoed the old gentleman. Kelso's grandson, of course. I knew his mother intimately. Oh? I believe I was at her christening. She was an extraordinarily beautiful girl, Margaret Devereux, and made all the men frantic by running away with a penniless young fellow, a mere nobody. Sir, a subaltern in a foot regiment, something of that kind. Certainly, I remember the whole thing as if it happened yesterday. Poor chap was killed in a duel at Spa a few months after the marriage. There was an ugly story about it. They said Kelso got some rascally adventurer, some Belgian brute, to insult his son-in-law in public. Hate him, sir, to do it. Hate him. And that fellow spitted his man as if he had been a pigeon. The thing was hushed up, but egad, Kelso ate his chop alone at the club for some time afterwards. He brought his daughter back with him, I was told, and she never spoke to him again. Oh, it was a bad business. The girl died too, within a year. She left a son, did she? I had forgotten that. What sort of boy is he? If he is like his mother, he must be a good-looking chap. He is very good-looking, assented Lord Henry. I hope he will fall into proper hands, continued the old man. He should have a pot of money waiting for him if Kelso did the right thing by him. His mother had money too. All the Selby property came to her through her grandfather. Her grandfather hated Kelso, thought him a mean dog. He was too. Came to Madrid once when I was there. Egad, I was ashamed of him. The Queen used to ask me about the English noble who was always quarreling with the captain about their fares. They made quite a story of it. I didn't show my face at court for a month. I hope he treated his grandson better than he did the Jarvies. Welcome in, Esper. Yes, I did get affiliate. And yes, I am not sure if they are vampires, but that is an accurate translation. Is he hot like his dead mom? Yeah, like super hot. I don't know, answered Lord Henry. I fancy that the boy will be well off. He is not of age yet. He is Selby, I know. He told me so. And his mother was very beautiful? Margaret Devereux was one of the loveliest creatures I ever saw, Harry. What on earth induced her to behave as she did, I never could understand. She could have married anybody she chose. Harlington was mad after her. She was romantic, though. All of the women of that family were. The men were a poor lot, but egad, the women were wonderful. That gentleman sure loved saying egad. Harlington went on his knees to her. Ayo, told me so himself. He laughed at him. There wasn't a girl in London at the time who wasn't after him. And by the way, Harry, talking about silly marriages, what is this humbug your father tells me about Dartmoor wanting to marry an American? Ain't English girls good enough for him? Lemon Zest said his mom was a 10. Is he also? My guy, he is like a 50. It is rather fashionable to marry Americans just now, Uncle George. I'll back Englishwoman against the world, Harry, said Lord Fermor, striking the table with his fist. The betting is on the Americans. They don't last, I am told, muttered his uncle. A long engagement exhausts them, but they are capital at a steeplechase. They take things flying. I don't think Dartmoor has a chance. Who are her people? Grumbled the old gentleman. Has she got any? Lord Henry shook his head. American girls are as clever at concealing their parents as Englishwomen are at concealing their past, he said, rising to go. They are pork packers, I suppose? Excuse me. I hope so, Uncle George, for Dartmoor's sake. I am told that pork packing is the most lucrative profession in America after politics. Is she pretty? She behaves as if she was beautiful. Most American women do. It is the secret of their charm. Why can't these American women stay in their own country? They're always telling us that it is the paradise for women. It is. That is the reason why, like Eve, they are so excessively anxious to get out of it, said Lord Henry. Goodbye, Uncle George. I shall be late for lunch if I stop any longer. Thank you for giving me the information I wanted. I always wanted to know everything about my new friends, and nothing about my old ones. Where are you lunching, Harry? At Aunt Agatha's. I have asked myself and Mr. Gray. He is her latest protege. Hmm. Tell your Aunt Agatha, Harry, not to bother me any more with her charity appeals. I am sick of them. Why, the good woman thinks that I have nothing to do but write checks for her silly fads. 1 second while I check why it has stopped playing. Oh, there it is. All right, Uncle George, I'll tell her, but it won't have any effect. Philanthropic people lose all sense of humanity. It is their distinguishing characteristic. The old gentleman growled approvingly and rang the bell for a servant. Lord Henry passed up the lower gate into Burlington Street, and his steps in the direction of Berkeley Square. So that was the story of Dorian Gray's parentage. Crudely as it had been told to him, it had yet stirred him by its suggestion of a strange, almost modern romance. A beautiful woman risking everything for a mad passion. A few wild weeks of happiness cut short by a hideous, treacherous crime. Months of voiceless agony, and then a child born in pain. The mother snatched away by death. The boy left to solitude and the tyranny of an old and loveless man. Yes, it was an interesting background. It posed the lad, made him more perfect as a man. Behind every exquisite thing that existed, there was something tragic. Worlds had to be in travail, that the meanest flower might blow, and how charming he had been at dinner the night before, as with startled eyes and lips parted in frightened pleasure, as he had sat opposite him in the club, the red candle shade staining to a richer rose the awakening wonder of his face. Talking to him was like playing upon an exquisite violin. He answered to every touch and thrill of the bow. There was something terribly enthralling in the exercise of influence. No other activity was like it. Project one's soul into some gracious form, and to let it tarry there for a moment. To hear one's intellectual views echo back to one with all of the added music of passionate youth. To convey one's temperament into another as though it was a subtle fluid or a strange perfume. There was a real joy in that. Perhaps the most satisfying joy left to us in an age so limited and vulgar as our own, an age grossly carnal in its pleasures, and grossly common in its aims. He was a marvelous type too, this lad, who by so curious a chance he had met at Basil's studio, or could be fashioned into a marvelous type at any rate. Yes, Lemon Zest says, I remember you saying this is supposed to be a toned down version. It is incredibly gay. It's very homoerotic. Um, so I understand how it was used to prosecute Oscar Wilde, but it is incredibly gay. And this is the toned down version. For, I believe, if there is another anniversary or some milestone coming up, I was thinking perhaps for 300 or 500 followers, I was considering reading the uncensored version for everyone, which is even more gay. Gay, but it's already July, says Mads. Yes, well, when you are gay, it is every day. Let's continue. He was a marvelous type too, this lad, whom by so curious a chance he had met at Basil's studio, or could be fashioned into a marvelous type at any rate. Grace was his, and the white purity of boyhood, and beauty such as old Greek marbles kept for us. There was nothing that one could not do with him. He could be made a titan or a toy. What a pity it was that such beauty was destined to fade. And Basil? From a psychological point of view, how interesting he was. The new manner in art, the fresh mode of looking at life, suggested so strangely by the mere visible presence of one who was unconscious of it all. The silent spirit that dwelt in him, that dwelt in dim woodland, and walked unseen in open field, suddenly showing herself, dryad-like and not afraid, because in his soul, who sought for her, there had been wakened that wonderful vision, to which alone are wonderful things revealed, the mere shapes and patterns of things becoming, as it were, refined, and gaining a kind of symbolical value, as though they were themselves patterns of some other and more perfect form, whose shadow they made real. How strange it all was! He remembered something like it in history. Was it not Plato, that artist and thought, who had first analyzed it? Was it not Buonarroti, who had carved it in the colored marbles of a sonnet sequence? But in our own century, it was strange. Yes, he would try to be what Dorian Gray was. Without knowing it, the lad was to the painter who had fashioned the wonderful portrait. He would seek to dominate him, had already indeed half done so. He would make that wonderful spirit his own. There was something fascinating in this son of love and death. Suddenly he stopped and glanced up at the houses. He found that he had passed his aunt's some distance, and smiling to himself, turned back. When he entered the somewhat somber hall, the butler told him that they had gone to lunch. He gave one of the footmen his hat and stick and passed into the dining room. "Late as usual, Harry," cried his aunt, shaking her head at him. He invented I do not know how to pronounce this word. A facile excuse, having taken the vacant seat next to her, looked around to see who was there. Dorian bowed to him shyly from the end of the table, a flush of pleasure stealing into his cheek. Opposite was the Duchess of Harley, a lady of admirable good nature and good temper, much liked by everyone who knew her, and those of ample architectural proportions that in women who were not duchesses were described by contemporary historians as stoutness. Next to her, on her right, Sir Thomas Burden, a radical member of the Parliament who followed his leader in public life and in private life followed the best cooks, dining with the Tories and thinking with the Liberals, in accordance with a wise and well-known rule. The post on her left was occupied by Sir Erskine of Treadley, an old gentleman of considerable charm and culture, who had fallen, however, into bad habits of silence, having, as he explained once to Lady Agatha, said everything he had to say before he was 30. Matt says, dominate him, very straight. Obviously, no context here. Exactly. What's a little bit of domination between friends? Yes, perhaps it has something to do with facsimile. But thank you, Lemon Zest. I believe someone who is more prepared would perhaps read this out loud and look up words that they do not know how to pronounce, but I'm not one of those people. His own neighbor was Mrs. Vandeleur, one of his aunt's oldest friends, a perfect saint amongst women, but so dreadfully dowdy that she reminded one of a badly bound hymn book. Fortunately for him, she had on the other side Lord Faudel, a most intelligent middle-aged mediocrity? As bald as a ministerial statement in the House of Commons, with whom she was conversing in that intensely earnest manner which is the one unpardonable error, as he remarked once himself, that all really good people fall into, and from none of them ever quite escape. And from which none of them ever quite escape. Amongst us. "We are talking about poor Dartmoor, Lord Henry," cried the Duchess, nodding pleasantly to him across the table. "Do you think you will really marry this fascinating young person?" "I believe she has made up her mind to propose to him, Duchess." "How dreadful!" exclaimed Lady Agatha. "Really, someone should interfere." "I am told, on excellent authority, that her father keeps an American dry goods store," said Sir Thomas Burden, looking supercilious. Interesting. "My uncle has already suggested pork packing, Mr. Thomas." Dry goods? What are American dry goods? Asked the Duchess, raising her large hands in wonder and accentuating the verb. American novels, answered Lord Henry, helping himself to some quail. The Duchess looked puzzled. Don't mind him, my dear, whispered Lady Agatha. He never means anything that he says. When America was discovered, said the radical member, and he began to give some wearisome facts. Like all people who try to exhaust a subject, he exhausted his listeners. The Duchess sighed and exercised her privilege of interruption. I wish to goodness it had never been discovered at all, she exclaimed. Really, our girls have no chance nowadays. It is the most unfair. Perhaps, after all, America never had been discovered, said Mr. Erskine. I myself would say it had merely been detected. Oh, but I've seen specimens of the inhabitants, answered the Duchess vaguely. I must confess that most of them are extremely pretty. They dress well, too. They get all of their dresses in Paris. I wish I could afford to do the same. They say that when good Americans die, they go to Paris, chuckled Sir Thomas, who had a large wardrobe of humorous cast-off clothes. Really, and where do bad Americans go when they die? Inquired the Duchess. They go to America, murmured Lord Henry. Sir Thomas frowned. I am afraid that your nephew is prejudiced against that great country, he said to Lady Agatha. I have travelled all over it in cars provided by the directors, who in such matters are extremely civil. I assure you, it is an education to visit it. But must we really see Chicago in order to be educated? Asked Mr. Erskine plaintively. I don't feel up to the journey. Sir Thomas waved his hand. Mr. Erskine of Treadley has the world on his shelves. We practical men like to see things, not to read about them. The Americans are extremely interesting people. They are absolutely reasonable. I think that is their distinguishing characteristic. Yes, Mr. Erskine, an absolute reasonable people. I assure you there is no nonsense about the Americans. How dreadful, cried Lord Henry. I can stand by brute force, but brute reason is quite unbearable. There is something unfair about its use. It is hitting below the intellect. I do not understand you, said Sir Thomas, growing rather red. I do, Lord Henry, murmured Mr. Erskine with a smile. Paradoxes are all very well in their way, rejoined the baronet. Was that a paradox? Asked Mr. Erskine. I do not think so. Perhaps it was. Well, the way of paradoxes is the way of truth. To test reality, we must see it on the tightrope. When the verities become acrobats, we can judge them. This entire exchange is rather odd, but I believe that is what happens when you have a bunch of people with a lot of money sitting around with nothing better to do. Dear me, said Lady Agatha, how you men argue. I am sure I can never make out what you are talking about. Oh, Harry, I am quite vexed with you. Why do you try to persuade our nice Mr. Dorian Gray to give up the East End? I assure you he would be quite invaluable. They would love his playing. I want him to play to me, cried Lord Henry, smiling, and he looked down the table and caught a bright answering glance. But they are so unhappy in Whitechapel, continued Lady Agatha. I can sympathize with everything except suffering, said Lord Henry, shrugging his shoulders. I cannot sympathize with that. It is too ugly, too horrible, too distressing. There's something terribly morbid in the modern sympathy with pain. One should sympathize with the color, the beauty, the joy of life. The less said about life's sores, the better. Still, the East End is a very important problem, remarked Sir Thomas, with a grave shake of the head. Quite so, answered the young lord. It is the problem of slavery, and we try to solve it by amusing the slaves. The politician looked at him keenly. What change do you propose, then? He asked. Lord Henry laughed. I do not desire to change anything in England, except the weather, he answered. I am quite content with philosophic contemplation. But, as the 19th century has gone bankrupt through an over-expenditure of sympathy, I would suggest that we should appeal to science to put us straight. The advantage of the emotions is that they lead us astray, and the advantage of science is that it is not emotional. But we have such grave responsibilities, ventured Miss Vandeleur timidly. Terribly grave, echoed Lady Agatha. Lord Henry looked over at Mr. Erskine. Humanity takes itself too seriously. It is the world's original sin. If the caveman had known how to laugh, history would have been different. You really are very comforting, warbled the Duchess. I have always felt rather guilty when I come to see your dear aunt, for whom I take no interest at all in the East End. For the future, I shall be able to look her in the face without a blush. A blush is very becoming, Duchess, remarked Lord Henry. When one is young, she answered. When an old woman like myself blushes, it is a very bad sign. Ah, Lord Henry, I wish you could tell me how to become young again. He thought for a moment. Can you remember any great error you committed in your early days, Duchess? He asked, looking at her across the table. A great many, I fear, she cried. Then commit them over again, he said gravely. To get back to one's youth, one merely has to repeat one's follies. A delightful theory, she exclaimed. I must put it into practice. A dangerous theory, came from Sir Thomas's tight lips. Lady Agatha shook her head, but could not help being amused. Mr. Erskine listened. Yes, he continued, that is one of the great secrets of life. Nowadays, most people die of a sort of creeping common sense, and discover when it is too late that the only things one never regrets are one's mistakes. A laugh ran around the table. He played with the idea and grew willful, tossed it into the air and transformed it, let it escape and recaptured it. He made it iridescent with fancy and winged it with paradox. The praise of folly, as he went on, soared into a philosophy, and philosophy herself became young, and catching the mad music of pleasure, wearing, one might fancy, her wine-stained robe and wreath of ivy, danced like a bacchette over the hills of life, and mocked the slow silliness for being sober. Facts fled before her like frightened forest things. Her white feet trod the huge press at which wise Omar sits, till the seething grape juice rose from her bare limbs in waves of purple bubbles, or crawled in red foam over the vat's back, vat's black, dripping, sloping sides. It was an extraordinary improvisation. He felt that the eyes of Dorian Gray were fixed on him, and the consciousness that amongst his audience was one whose temperament he wished to fascinate seemed to give his wit keenness and to lend color to his imagination. He was brilliant, fantastic, irresponsible. He charmed his listeners out of themselves, and they followed his pipe, laughing. Dorian Gray never took his gaze off him, but sat like one under a spell, smiles chasing each other over his lips, and wonder growing grave in his darkening eyes. At last, liveried in the costume of the age, reality entered the room in the shape of a servant, to tell the Duchess that her carriage was waiting. She wrung her hands in mock despair. How annoying, she cried. I must go. I have to call for my husband at the club, to take him to some absurd meeting at Willis's rooms, where he is going to be in the chair. If I am late, he is sure to be furious, and I couldn't have a scene in his bonnet. It is far too fragile. A harsh word would ruin it. No, I must go, dear Agatha. Goodbye, Lord Henry. You are quite delightful and dreadfully demoralizing. I'm sure I don't know what to say about your views. You must come and dine with us some night. Tuesday? Are you disengaged Tuesday? For you, I would throw over anybody, Duchess, said Lord Henry with a bow. Ah, that is very nice and very wrong of you, she cried. So mind you come. And she swept out of the room, followed by Lady Agatha and the other ladies. When Lord Henry had sat down again, Mr. Erskine moved forward, and taking a chair close to him, placed his hand upon his arm. You talk books away, he said. Why don't you write one? I am too fond of reading books to write them, Mr. Erskine. I should like to write a novel, certainly. A novel that would be as lovely as a Persian carpet, and as unreal. But there is no literary public in England for anything except newspapers, primers, and encyclopedias. Of all the people in the world, the English have the least sense of beauty of literature. As Mad says, there is not one grain of straightness in this book. Not even one, says Esper. That is correct. I fear you are right, answered Mr. Erskine. I myself used to have literary ambitions, but I gave them up long ago. And now, my dear young friend, if you will allow me to call you so, may I ask if you really meant all that you said to us at lunch? I quite forget what I said, smiled Lord Henry. Was it all very bad? Very bad indeed. In fact, I consider you extremely dangerous, and if anything happens to our good Duchess, we shall look on you as primarily responsible. But I should like to talk to you about life. The generation into which I was born was tedious. Some day, when you are tired of London, come down to Treadley and expound to me some of your philosophy of pleasure over some admirable Burgundy that I am fortunate enough to possess. I shall be charmed. A visit to Treadley would be a great privilege. It has a perfect host and a perfect library. You will complete it, answered the old gentleman with a courteous bow. And now I must bid goodbye to your excellent aunt. I am due at the Athenaeum. It is the hour when we sleep there. All of you, Mr. Erskine? 40 of us in 40 armchairs. We are practicing for an English Academy of Letters. Lord Henry laughed and rose. And I am going to the park, he cried. As he was passing out of the door, Dorian Gray touched him on the arm. Let me come with you, he murmured. But I thought you had promised Basil Howard to go and see him, answered Lord Henry. I would sooner come with you. Yes, I feel I must come with you. Do let me, and you will promise to talk to me all the time? No one talks so wonderfully as you do. I have talked quite enough for today, said Lord Henry, smiling. All I want now is to look at life. You may come and look at it with me, if you care to. Thus concludes the end of Chapter 3 of The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which is incredibly straight as a text. So, without further ado, let us go over a few of the channel point redeems. So, if you will move your attention to the channel point section. I'm not entirely sure where it is on the mobile, but on desktop, you will see a raven feather, which I've named Birdleaf appropriately, and you may peruse them there. I see that somebody has redeemed first. One moment. Allow me to get situated for you. A second here. Oh yes, thank you for the first red panda appearing. Yes, there's a thirst trap theme. So, we have first, that is awarded to the first person to arrive on stream and claim the reward. The second is hydrate. I'm sure you're quite familiar. It makes me take a sip of water. The next one is praise. This one's quite interesting. I will call you a good boy or a good girl, depending on what your preferences are, or whatever else you'd like me to call you. And chastise is the same, but in reverse. Perhaps you would require a scolding if you haven't completed your work, if you're playing hooky to watch my streams, or if you should be asleep. And I hope that it helps. The next one is asleep and awake, which is rather interesting. And allow me to demonstrate what that looks like. So this is the awake. I do need to nail down the different key commands. Perhaps I should write them down. But this is also the voice that I will use for the dark reading redeem. Yes, well, that is the dark redeem. And redeeming asleep or awake will toggle it on and off. And then we have the regular read redeem, where I will read a text for you. I will be dramatically decreasing the price for my reading streams. I believe it will be around 500, but it is twice at current market rate. And as I said, the dark read redeem is the same, but with the dark voice. And the next one at 1,500 is the caw redeem. At the end of every sentence, I have to say caw, and every time I mess up, I believe that goes on for 5 minutes, and every time I mess up, I will gift a sub to my viewers. Yes. And at 2,000, you are able to time out anyone in chat that you choose for 5 minutes. I made it expensive on purpose. And at 2,000 is the thirst trap, where I just remove the shirt. Allow me to demonstrate. If I can find the button. Nope. Still incorrect. There it is. Esper punishment time. I'm not entirely sure if Esper actually wants to be punished. But anyways. Sure, back on for now. So those are all the redemptions that I have. And I do not have as many shots in me as I thought, but perhaps this will still be frustrating for you. Or for me, actually. For you to watch. Incredibly amusing. Alright, I've stopped the music for now. And now, without further ado, it is time for the game Mondays, a Sisyphean typing game. Alright. So the premise of this game is that you are a worker at a company and you must write emails. And every time you mess up writing an email, you must start again anew. It is incredibly frustrating, and I hope that you will enjoy my suffering today. Oh no, indeed. Welcome to Biotech, Jirou. Our experimental work model pays per letter typed. Take on more work to rise to the top. Press escape to open settings. Boss. Oh. I see. I did not capitalize A. Good afternoon. I suppose it's in Jeff's wheelhouse. As ever, Jirou. What did I do? Good. Oh, I see. Even when you win, you roll back down. Our new pulp. Oh, no. I see. What are these accessories again? What is this? I would like to not. Do I get a red nose? Oh, the red nose goes on the ball. That makes total sense. Why would I think that it would go on to me? Our new hole punch is really efficient. Take care, Jirou. Of course. And we have to close the pop-ups every single time. Yo. My stapler is all out of staples. Help. Faithfully. Jirou. How nice it is that I don't have a long name. What does the pipe look like? Having to close the pop-ups is the worst part of it. I wonder if there's... Oh, it's not entirely timed. That does make things a bit easier. There's no sense of urgency. Lemon Zest says, this would be the worst game for me to play lately. I've been very bad at typing for the last few days for some reason. The pipe smokes, indeed it does. I wonder if it makes a sound. Nope. Howdy. Can you provide color to Q1 Delta? Looking forward to hearing from you, Jirou. Why did the clown nose leave? Oh, I did take it away. Would you like it back? Here you go. Just for you, Mads. Company-wide. Unfortunate. Yes, I believe you can add all of these at the same time. Company-wide alert. It's punchy, but doesn't draw me in. Warm regards, Jirou. How glad I am that I don't have a long name. I wonder what the shoes do. How fascinating. Ah, I understand. Colleagues, how would you feel about a mascot? Thanks again. Yup. One moment while I turn this up a little bit. Colleagues, how would you feel about a mascot? Thanks again, Jirou. Of course. Of course. Don't shoot the messenger. When can I expect an update on this? Later, Gator. Jirou. Alright, let's see if we can add eyes and a nose to this. To whom it may concern. Pivot towards a synergistic strategy. Yours? Yes, jargon, that means absolutely nothing. Oh. Alright then. I see that it is night mode. Hi, team. My latest thought shower was fruitful. Yours, Jirou. The teeth and the eyes look terrifying. I'm excited for the AirPods. Moving on up. Season's greetings. The photocopier is on the blink again. This is just working in an office simulator. You are rewarded only for preciseness, not speed. Cordially, Jirou. Just to clarify, integrally, we're agile and disruptive. Hope this is helpful. It absolutely is not. Jirou. Indeed, it is the desire to be speedy. I believe I am too sober for this to be truly suffering, although it is getting there. Good morning. ABC. Always be communicating. Insincerely. Jirou. Alright. Thank you for the gifted sub, Lemon Zest. Greatly appreciated. Every time you make a typo shot. Oh. Be careful what you wish for. All of this business jargon. Finance is mid. What does this even mean? So, any views should go in pigeonholes. Regards, Jirou. Hey. Due to continued successes, the corner office is now indeed. Hey, due to I will finish this one, even if it kills me. Especially with the music, this really simulates the working in an office atmosphere. Oh. Delegate this email. No, absolutely not. I will not delegate. I feel bad that even this game is trying to give me an out. I keep attempting to write due to the continued successes. Okay. Due to the corner office is now yours. Enjoy the windows. Love and respect. Now my immersion is broken. I would never write that in an office email. Yes. How about a... yes, a hat. Oh. Not quite enough. How about a cowboy hat? Perfect. Hello. We were supposed to be absolutely fascinated with whoever came up with these emails. They are too accurate. Who dropped the ball? Names. Sincerely, Jirou. I will attempt not to die. I'm not entirely sure how to... Is the only way to win this game. I believe you are hearing my keyboard. Please read this carefully. This has Jen Elf written all over it. Yes, only realistic keyboard clicking here. The avatar is make believe, but the clicking, that's realistic. Boss. Although, oh, we love that for us. Boss. Although there's money in the pot to outsource, let's not boil the ocean with anticipation. Yeah. I wonder if... oh, I would love this parrot. Wait, do I have both the parrot and the top hat? I see. There's a pirate hat with a parrot on it, as well as a cowboy hat. Greetings. If you have any further questions, please email inquiries at biotech@gmail.com. Over. Oh no. I believe so if I can unlock it. You can get everything everywhere all at once. Oh boy. That was a movie, alright. So is the only way to beat this game to unlock all of the work? Greetings. If you have any further questions, please email at gmail.com. Over and out. You can tell when I'm concentrating because I stop speaking. I bet there'll be more add-on after you finish first wave. What is the first wave? You mean purchasing all of these? I'm not entirely sure. I see. Hi there. Sleek? Yes, the laughing really helps you feel better about this. Oh, I see. I wonder if that's what you need to beat the game. Sleek? Workflow. I like the cut of your jib. Thanks in advance. Jirou. You get multipliers if you don't mess up, I believe. What is this? Does this paint the rock? Yes, it does. Dear all, we should discuss the pros and cons of leveraging Gen Health latest slip up XOXO Jirou. I hate that it doesn't allow you to downgrade. Good evening. Myself and Amber are knuckling down. Are we now? Will triple check before pressing send. Burn after reading Jirou. I mean, the music is a quality of life upgrade because at least I'm not listening to this man grunt over and over again. Salutations. I've been informed. Yes, they do vary rather wildly, isn't it? Don't they, Lemon Zest? Oh. If you don't, it does, start to struggle. I've been informed by maintenance that the vending machine is eating change. Your, oh boy, number 1 and Jirou. Ahoy! All of us here at Biotech want to convey our disgust at the government's stance. Peace. That's a rather apt email. Jirou. I'm interested in seeing what the more work and even more work are. Perhaps that's the secret to winning. Regarding today's meeting, we need to innovate urgently. Thanks. Oh, that was rather short. Jirou. Longer and longer emails. Alright. Do we like to suffer? Yes, we do. Happy Monday. I just wanted to confirm my equity stake ahead of... On the plus side, I suppose this makes you a more accurate typist. Oh no. Oh no. One moment. Okay. Let us at it again. Unhappy Monday. I just wanted to confirm my Lemon Zest says the boss did say at the beginning that taking on more and more work will bring you to the top in theory. Oh god. So maybe that is the key. Thank you for your belief in me while I suffer. Happy Monday. I just wanted to confirm my equity stake ahead of French. I've CC'd in Patricia as my line manager in case that's... Oh, that's always the worst, when people CC you and there's no reason. Fine. Of course. Of course I will back down towards the end. I will pause for one moment and give a shout out to Mads the Beaver. who is actually, well, I'm not sure if they're on their affiliate arc, but has started streaming. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Lemon Zest. You subscribed to me earlier, but I forgot to give you a shout out. But also, Mads are you trying to get to affiliate? I don't remember. But I do know that they've been practicing streaming and have been streaming Stray, which is a delightful game about cats. Yes. And I believe they're still well under 100 followers, which is a crime, so you should definitely give them a follow. They're just going to stream and see what happens. Honestly, that's the way to go. Because I have my affiliate celebration Thursday, which is my regular streaming day, as well as Tuesday with the collab. It is quite busy for me this week. I like how I went from streaming 5 days a week to 3 days a week because I needed to take a break. Ahead of French. I've been Patricia as my line manager in case that's useful. Kind regards, Jirou. Excellent. We're getting there. All the collabs. Yep. I love it here. This is just practice for tomorrow, really. Over the weekend, I asked maintenance to rearrange everyone's cubicles. Why ever would you do that? It is a fun way. A lot of games are a fun way to get angry. I do want to play one where I have to do a shot every time I mess up. Over the weekend, I asked maintenance to rearrange everyone's cubicles. Doesn't have an N in it. Why am I unable to spell cubicles? Steam Piers. Over the weekend, I asked maintenance to rearrange everyone's cubicles. Doesn't have an N in it. Yes, but with Pico Park, at least when I lost, it was somebody else's fault. Generally, it was Jun's fault. But this time, the fault is my own, and I only have myself to blame for my incompetence. And that feels bad. Also, asking maintenance to rearrange everyone's cubicles is stupid. Cubicles. Yes. The new layout should boost. How does that even help? Productivity by 12%. Any questions? Let me know. I see the end. Jirou. Amazing. I'm so close. Is this me working towards retirement? I believe it is fine, Lemon Zest, for people to make typos. In this instance, it is devastating. They punish you for your failure. Exciting news. Due to John being off sick, could you send your time sheets through to me instead? Will... Why is John being off sick good news this week? Oh, I'm so close. I can taste it. I can taste it. I am almost free. Action stations people. The water cooler water taste. That's not good. Funny. Is it just me, or do you taste it? Are you sure it's not COVID? I believe this is the same size as ever. Action stations people. The water cooler water tastes funny. Is it just me, or do you taste it as... Oh, does it get larger as I continue? Oh. I did not give it a chance. It looks big thanks to his disguises. Don't shoot the messenger. Per my last email. Concerns about the side effects of our products should be reported to your oh shit. The coworker has the COVID. I believe I do get larger as I progress, but we'll have to see. Messenger, per my last email. Concerns about the side effects of our products should be reported to your LINEMANAGER or HR. I pressed space instead of period. Alright. Enjoy dinner, Lemon Zest. I will continue to suffer until I finish. And thank you so much for coming by. Shoot. As well as the gifted sub. Messenger. I do want to shoot the messenger though. I really, really do. The fear is indeed building within the heart of our crow. Don't shoot. Oh, but I really want to. Yep. I do want to shoot the messenger. I want to so badly. Per my last email. Concerns about the side of our products should be reported to your line or HR. Period. Sent from my iPhone. Excellent. Even more work. Oh? So there's an Easter egg at the end. Good. This is the longest one. Good morrow. I regret to inform you that we will not be taking your application any. Oh, I do hate writing rejection emails. Not as much as I hate failing them. Good. Good morrow, I said. Good. Good morrow. I will not be taking your any further. We decided to go with another. This sounds too legit. What's the who has more recent thanks. That sounded fairly legit. I did not make it. Why did I not make it? Spicy water? I've only had one shot so far. I believe I am one sub away from the second shot. That being said, please do not make me drink more. I am so close to finishing. Data is the new water. That sounds like some nonsense. You didn't hear that from me. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm kidding. But also, no smoke without fire. I've been right before. God. Godspeed, Jirou. Darkness is swirling inside your little beaver mind. Oh, by the way, this game was made from one of those code jams, where you have a limited amount of time to make a video game. It's quite fascinating. Hello. It's free, by the way. That's right. Suffering is free for you. To work. Biotech Taker, it's a work day, has been postponed due to COVID? Nope. Postponed does not have an H in it. Hello. The Biotech Take Your Kids to Work Day has EONED due to a mix up with the bouncy castle. We God. Free suffering, yes, it is a free game. I will post a link in my Discord. Hello. The Watch lemon zest come back and I'm still suffering. Bouncy Castle. We will send a new date for this event as soon as we can. Is this the end? XOXO. Of course it isn't. Passwords, please don't open. Brief? Okay. Oh, I see. Amazing. Unlimited cheats. Infinite money. Look, I wish that working at a job for a long period of time will just give you infinite money. That sounds amazing. Wait, is there really no end to this? I've purchased everything. To whom it may concern, we will be celebrating International Talk Like a Pirate Day on the 19th of 19th September. Not the 19th of September. On the 19th September. To whom it may concern, we will be international hashtag. No. Is there an end to this money? Please free me from this prison that I've created. It's a prison of my own creation. No, it just continues on forever. I see. It's a new rock, but it looks exactly the same. Oh no. Delegate this email. Yeah, no, I will not. Is there actually no end to this? I believe it shows you the tip to tease you. Is there really no end to this? Oh? Why is it down there? I will not delegate it. I will finish this. If it's the last thing I do. Hashtag talk like a... I don't know if this is an error. But given the amount of suffering in this game, probably not. Bring in What? Is that a period? I will not delegate this email. I want to know. It's endless like the myth. But why is everything else fine? I've been made a fool. I don't think there's actually an end. And I feel stupid. Oh boy. I think that is the end of this. I do not want to deal with this any longer. You just have unlimited new rocks. How do I get out of here? Thank you. That was an experience. You know, I think this is where we will conclude it here today. Thank you so much for coming to join me for my affiliate celebration. I will be coming back Tuesday to do the Forest collaboration. 1 second, let me put on the music and swap over. Thank you for the subscription, Esper. That means I have to do a shot. One moment. I'm glad that my suffering has entertained you. And thank you, Limus Foley, for coming. The forest? What is that? Hold on a second, let me run another poll. What should I drink? I've learned from this game that I'm not as good at spelling as I thought. Gin soju. This is 43%, 43.4%. Soju, 24%, and last but not least, peach vodka, which is 30%. But yes, the forest. The forest is a very interesting game. Where you are playing a polycule of fathers, and you are trying to rescue your son. I will be playing it with Hiko Nico, who is not here currently. Do I know how to spell their username on Twitch? 1 second. Good night, Maz. Thank you for coming by.
Us?
No. I do not want to broadcast. Okay. There we go. So we have Hiko Nico, as well as Esper, who has yet to stream. Oh, Esper did stream. Just chatting. Sad I missed it. And I will also be joined by Jun. moment. It is a little bit frustrating when people have different names between their Twitch and their Twitter, but it is what it is. But why does it say just chatting, Esper? Twitch wouldn't lie. You've never streamed. Alright then. And last but not least, we have Mads. So there will be 5 of us, and I welcome you to come back on Tuesday. I still need to make the poster for that, so probably that will be done tomorrow. As tonight it is quite late for me. And please do vote, because I will do my one last shot and then raiding into somebody else. Oh, I see that Best Dad Tuber is playing Occult. Perhaps we will give him a visit. You've never. I see that the highest percentage is currently winning. There are more than 2 of you. Please vote for something else and save me from myself. But it is 1 drink at night. So, not altogether terrible, but hopefully I did not set the channel points rewards too expensive. I tried to be a little bit generous with it. For example, the praise and the chastise and the sleep and awake. It would get rather frustrating after a while to have to toggle them on and off constantly and to fulfill those redeems. So, hopefully it's affordable enough. So we have 3 people for gin and 2 people for peach vodka. What will happen if it's a tie? Will I have to drink both? I believe that's worse. That would actually be worse at the time. But yes, I will be streaming Tuesday as well as Thursday. So the Tuesday stream will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Thursday stream will be at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and the 10 o'clock Thursday stream will be my regular streaming days, outside of collaborations and affiliate celebrations and things like that. So, we'll see. Perhaps I should not have made it 5 minutes. That feels a bit long, but the timer's ticking down. So, hopefully everyone has enjoyed the 3rd chapter of The Picture of Dorian Gray. As usual, this video will be available on YouTube for those of you who have missed it, and thank you for watching the video if you've joined. I see it's gin time. The disappointing gin. One shot, bottoms up. Cheers to you, Esper, for putting me over the edge. Oh. Oh, that is not good. My suffering was so intense that my VTuber stopped working for a moment. And now we will give our salutations to Best Dad Tuber, who usually does a lot of reading as well. And as a fun fact, he was quite the inspiration for a lot of my streams. And I had the chance to talk to him and get a lot of guidance. So please give him a follow if you can, and check out some of his streams. I believe he is currently in a collab stream and not reading. But that is alright. So, thank you for spending Sunday evening with me, and I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. And, well, it's Monday coming up. I have nothing positive to say about that, seeing as we had a taste of that just now. But take care. Have a good evening.